Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. I am your moderator for today, and I hope you all are excited about this webinar because I am, not just because it's Friday, but because it's webinar time. Okay, so today's webinar is titled From Sky to Soil, Integrating Drones and GIS for Smarter Agriculture. And I really appreciate you all for joining. And this session is designed to explore how drone technology and GIS workflows come together to support smarter, more informed, and agricultural decision making. We all know that agriculture today is no longer just about observation, it's about precision, data, and insights. And that is what we'll be talking about today. And before we begin this session, let's appreciate our hosts. And our host for this webinar is Geoinfotech Resources Limited. At Geoinfotech, what we do is we develop innovative geotechnical applications and services that address real-world problems through geographic information system, that's the GIS, land surveying, drone survey, eye rendering of satellite data, data analysis, and providing geodatabase for several agencies for better decisions. We specialize in harnessing geospatial data and cutting-edge GIS technology to provide valuable insights into various industries and sectors. We develop and design urban planning and infrastructure maps to provide valuable reports, coverage for city development projects, transportation, and environmental sustainability. So before we continue, let's talk about this moderator here. So I am a GIS analyst. I am a lady with many hats. Don't worry, I won't bore you with title. You can call me a GIS enthusiast or geospatial enthusiast. Now moving on to the context of today's webinar. And let me just remind you the title of today's webinar, which is From Sky to Soil, Integrating Drones and GIS for Smarter Agriculture. Now, like I said earlier on, agriculture today is changing, it is evolving, a lot of things are happening, and farmers have to be intentional about understanding patterns, identifying problems on time, and making informed decisions backed up by data. And while traditional farm monitoring is important, it can be so time consuming and reactive. But with the growing demand of productivity and efficiency, farmers need something more. They need accurate information, they need timely insights, they need precisions. And that is where drone and GIS intersects. So to probably understand this workflow, we begin at the very first stage, data capture from the sky. So while the session is going on, we are going to be having two speakers. One will be taking us on drones, while the other will be taking us on GIS. There are some set rules that to guide the flow of this webinar. And one thing we should all know is that there is a question and answer section, and your questions can come in the comment section. And while the speakers are taking their sessions, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. Moving on to our first speaker. Our first speaker, Mr. Akemoto Ayomide, is a passionate drone operator and geospatial technology enthusiast with hands-on experience in large-scale drone mapping and aerial surveying. He has worked on projects covering thousands of hectares, capturing high precision aerial data for agriculture, infrastructure, and environmental analysis. Today, he will walk us through how drone missions are planned, executed, and how quality data is captured for agricultural intelligence. Mr. Akinwuto, you can have the floor now. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Abimbola, for introducing me. So my name is Akinwuto Anthony. I'm the drone pilot here at Geoinfotech, and I'll be taking you on drones in agriculture. So firstly, we'll tell you what a drone is, types of drone used in agriculture, flight plan basics, data acquisition workflow, and operational consideration. So yeah, what's a drone? A drone, also known as an unmanned aerial vehicle, is an aircraft that operates without a human pilot on board, and is controlled remotely using GPS and onboard software. We have different components of a drone. We have the drone itself, the flight controller, the GPS module, the sensor and camera payload, and ground control system. So types of drones in agriculture is divided into two. You have the spraying drones and the mapping and surveying drones. For the spraying drones, you have different types of spraying drones, but let's focus on the DJI drones. You have DJI Avast C50, DJI Avast 200, you have DJI C30, C10, and C20. So spraying drones, they are used in spraying pesticide, fertilizer, and applying herbicide on farmlands. For example, we have a big farmland, and you don't think you can use one person to cover the whole land. So drone can cover everything. And for T50, T50 can cover 50 hectares of land in a day. Just imagine how many human beings want to use to cover 50 hectares of land in one day. And for 300, the good thing about 300 is it can cover over 100 hectares in a day and can also carry 80 extra percent, 80 kg payload extra. So the key benefits of using drone in agriculture is it covers large hectares typically. Like I said, C50 can cover over 50 hectares in a day. It sprays the chemical uniformly. So like we have something like a precision agriculture. So we're precise about the chemical outflow. We have set the flow rate, can set six flow rate per seconds per tree. So per tree, the flow rate is coming out is 6 liters on it. It can set at 1 liter per tree. So it's uniform. All the trees, all the plants, they get the same amount of chemical, not one getting more than and one getting less than. And it saves time and labor cost. Like I said, C50 can cover over 50 hectares in a day. So just know that human being, 50 human being cannot cover over 50 hectares in a day. You know how hectare is big. And the labor cost of paying over 50 people to come and spray your farm is a lot. So this is an example of drone in action in agriculture. That this is T50 spraying a farm in Okomo in Benin City. So this is how the chemical is. So like I said, like 2 liter on a particular tree. So this is how this is how the flow rate is. This is how it will be coming out. So drones used for mapping and surveying. So these drones that used to collect crop health monitoring, NDVR analysis, they have use of field mapping and precision agriculture planning. Examples of drone used for this: we have DJI Mavic 3 multispectra, DJI Phantom 4 multispectra, DJI Matrix 300 RTK. The key benefit is it helps us detect crop stress very early, high resolution and data capture. It supports GIS analysis and enables data-driven farming decision. So this is how the mapping will be done. So after you set up your plans, you map out the boundaries. The drones can be capturing side by side, capturing the data, taking the pictures, and when this is done, we'll do the processing and get an automatic image, which can be used for NDVR analysis. So flight planning basics. So this I'll tell you the steps to take when planning your flights. You have to set the boundary so you know where you want to spray. It's good to collect the KMF5 from the farmer. If you don't have KMF5, you can use like the DJI Phantom 4 to map out the whole area so you can know what and where you cover. And set the flight altitude. So if you're spraying a big farm, let's say cocoa plantation, and the biggest cocoa is let's say 10 meter tall, you have to fly above 10 meter, like add an extra 5 meters, like 50 meters tall. So you adjust the flight speed. If you want to rush it, you can put your speed at 15 meters per second. If you want to take your time, you can do it at 2 meters per second. So it's just you that determine how you want to do it. Configure front and side overlap. So front and side overlap for the best I'll use for the front use 75. While the side use 85. So the front is capturing 75 more images and side is capturing 85 more images, which can be used when processing, and it's used for data music images. Enable RTK for high accuracy. So the RTK will get the accurate measurements and everything. So software used in planning it, we have the DJI Pilot 2 and the DJI Terra, which you can use also Terra for processing of the images. Data acquisition workflow. This first step, like I said, you plan your mission. You select the drones you want for and sensor type. There are different sensors like RGB sensor, multispectral sensor, and thermal sensor. Then automated flights. The drone follow, like I showed you in the video before. Before every flight, you program how the drone will go, the path it will follow. So the drone is going to follow that exact path. So before every flight, you must make sure you set up a good flow. So data capture, like I said, we have different sensor types. We can capture the RGB images, multispectral images, and thermal images. So data processing, after I've gotten all the images are put in the digital to generate automosaic map, NDVR maps, and 3D surface model. The analysis and outputs. The automatic map and NVM map, they give us, oh, these are the stress crop zones. So the farmer can know what to do. And it's expected to the GIS analyst. So the analyst will know what to do. Then we generate a decision support. We know what to do next. We're setting up the next action. Operation consideration, regulation compliance. You have to follow aviation authority. So like the one of the law is don't fly over people. So it's for agriculture that is normal. Don't start flying over people and spraying chemical on them. So you have to observe all the rules. You have to fly above 120. You cannot fly above 120 meter in the air. If you want to take one fly over 120 meter, you have to take permission from the agency. Avoid restricted airspace like flying near the airports, flying near barrack, flying near police station. So avoid all those. And if you want to do it, you have to take a permission from them. Weather condition, avoid strong wind. If you're flying during windy time, the wind and if it's heavy, you can completely read the drone. And if you want to fly with wind, you have to fly against the wind. Don't fly towards the wind so that the drone will not collapse in the air. Avoid flying in rain, even heavy rain and normal rain, because the drones are electrical, so you can fry the socket in the air. Battery management. Before every flight, monitor your battery health. If you are flying and your battery is less than 50%, bring it back to change the battery, because you don't. If you see how tear grass is, it's very big. Just imagine it crashing in the air. That is killing a lot of people. Then avoid deep charging. When your battery is full, please remove it. If you continue charging, you're going to spoil the battery. The battery is going to swell up. Data security, protect your farm data. Don't share the data to anybody who is not part of your operation, because you don't know what the person can use it for. Ensure secure storage and backup. So secure your data very well and have a backup for the data. So my key takeaway, drone is here to improve agriculture efficiency. It's not here to take our job, just make the job easier for us. Proper flight planning ensures accurate data. You plan your flight very well. The data is going to be captured very well. No issue, no error, no need for you to go back to the farm to capture it again. Data capture workflow transform images into insights. Like I said, the images are used to detect crop stress very early. So when the capture is done, you can use it for different things. Safe operation ensures sustainable and implementation. So thank you for listening, and I'm waiting for your questions. Over to you, Mr. Bimbola.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Clinton. That was a very interesting session. Now, everyone, we have seen what happens in the field, right? We have seen how drone missions are planned, flight planning, how wages are captured, how precision begins from the sky. Oh, capturing data is not just the first step, right? Imagery on its own does not just solve problem. It's not just by capturing raw images. You have to do these things are processing, analyzing, and interpretation of raw data. And that is where GIS comes in, because data becomes valuable only when it becomes insights. So now that we've understood how imagery is collected, the next step is transforming that raw data into actionable agricultural intelligence. So our next speaker will take us through that analytical journey. And let's remember a quick reminder, please. Like I said earlier on, let's keep our questions coming in the comment section. Let's not forget, please. So now moving on to our next speaker, Mr. Adeoye Adeola. Mr. Adeoye Adeola is a graduate of Surveying and Geoinformatics from University of Lagos with solid experience in GIS, remote sensing, and spatial analysis. He has executed practical mapping and analytical projects and is passionate about applying geospatial technology to solve real-world problems. He also brings strong leaderships and teamwork skills alongside a commitment to continuous professional growth. He's a graduate member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a member of the International Society of Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing. He's also a member of the Young Surveyors Network. So now, Mr. Adeoye Adeola, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Sabimbola. Thank you so much. All right, good morning, everyone, and you're welcome to this webinar. And I'm excited to be here. My name is Adi Adiola, and I am the GIS and remote sensing analyst. And so we've spoken about the title From Sky to Soil, integrating drones, remote sensing, and GIS for smarter agriculture. And Mr. Akinwuto Anthony already discussed, the types of drones that are used. He already discussed on the regulatory compliances. He already discussed on how to use the drones. And we can see for certain that drones are very, very important, especially for farmers and for those that are into large-scale farming or large-scale agriculture. And now I'm about to talk about, after which you've flown your drone, after which, you've performed all the necessary steps, to getting your data. What is the next step? And that is where GIS and remote sensing comes in. And so we'll be talking about image processing workflow. We'll be talking about vegetation indices. We're talking about field variability and zonal statistics. And we'll also be talking about producing farmer-ready decision maps. And so let me not bore you with so much of the English that is here. As we go along, we will see that these are simple things and something we can relate with on the long run, especially for those of us that are farmers or for those of us that intend to go into large scale agriculture in the future. And so now I'll go to the basics. And the basics is image processing workflow, image processing workflow. And so, like I said, Mr. Anthony already spoke about, flying your drones over a large expanse of land, not only large expanse of land, over any particular area. And so when you fly your drones, of course, there should be an output. There should be a result. And that result is what we call auto mosaics. Auto mosaics. And so drones are useful for creating auto mosaics. So what are auto mosaic? An auto mosaic is a way sharper version of Google Earth. It's a large map quality image with high detail and resolution made by combining small images called orthophotos. And so in the real sense, we know most of us are conversant with what Google Earth is or our Google Map. And we can, go to our Google Map or our Google Earth to see images that are, on Earth. And so AutoMosaic is a way sharper version of Google Earth. And these can be captured using UAVs. And UAVs, unmanned area vehicle, which one of which is drone. And so an automosaic map or auto is a single geometrically corrected image created through the combinations of many orthophotos. Like I said, automosaic is a combination of orthophotos. And so let us go into what orthophotos are. What are orthophotos? So an orthophoto is an aerial photograph that has been corrected for lens distortion, camera tilt, perspective, and topographic relief. Before going into these complex terms, simple means orthophotos are the photos or images acquired from the drones. And so images are acquired from the drones, and of course they are, captured from the drones, and of course they are sent somewhere for you to visually look at them. And so orthophotos are photos acquired from drone. And so in a more complex manner, an orthophoto is an aerial photograph that has been corrected for lens distortion, camera tilt, perspective, and topographic relief. And so let us talk about lens distortion. And so lens distortion is, you know, this from the word lens, and this comes from the camera that is attached to your drone. As we know, we have different lenses, and so for you to get a perfect orthophoto, you must ensure that distortion that comes from the errors, either from the lenses, that can change the shape or lines of the properties that are in that orthophoto, they must be corrected so that you can get a proper orthophoto. We also have cameral tips. While flying over a particular area, we notice that there's always a cameral tilt at any angle, even exceeding from the angle which you already placed, which you already imputed into the camera. And so for you to get a perfect orthophoto, you have to correct camera tilt. Another one is perspective. And perspective is simply saying when you fly your drone over a particular area, depending on the height of that particular area, you can notice that there are objects that appear larger than some other objects. There are objects that appear larger, while there are some that appears to be farther away. So to correct all of this, it's important to take note of perspective when you're generating your orthophoto. And the last is topographic relief. We all know that not everyone sits on the same terrain. I might be on a particular terrain that is higher than where you are. So a building might sit on a particular terrain that is higher than another building, or a tree might be higher than another tree because of the terrain. And so to adjust all of this, it's important to take note of that an orthophoto, for it to be correct, you have to remove lens distortion, camera distortion, perspective distortion, and topographic relief. And all of this is generally known as geometric distortions because they take note of shape, size, and perspective. Shape, size, and perspective. So basically, what I'm trying to say is orthophotos are photos, captured from the drone and has been corrected for lens distortion, camera tilt, perspective, and topographic relief. And so let us look at this. This is a orthophoto right here. Why this is a normal photo. And so let us look at the normal photo. So this is the normal photo that is captured by a drone right here on the right hand side. And as you can see, we can see a perspective view of this building. That is, it's more like looking like it is in 3D. And that is not what we want because there will be distortion in shape. If you look at this also, we can see the perspective, sorry, and if you also look at this, we can see the perspective. And this is caused due to, the camera tilt or due to some other geometric properties. And so this is an orthophoto that has been corrected. And so if you look at this orthophoto here, we can see that there is no distortion and there is a uniform scale. And so this is what we want to work towards to an orthophoto. So let us go back to what I said. What is an automosaic? Like I said, automosaic is the combination of orthophotos, and I already discussed on what orthophotos are. So when we combine these orthophotos together, imagine flying your drone over a particular area and you get 500 orthophotos. Combination of that 500 orthophotos is what is known as an automosaic. All right. So how are automosaic used and what are the applications in agriculture? And so to get an updated view of a large area of land, Google Earth, Google Earth is helpful, but imageries are often outdated. And so if you go to your Google Earth, you notice that yeah, there's a particular date at which that imagery is captured. And so imagine you are here right now and we're in February and you're going to your Google Earth and you're seeing an imagery that has, been updated to November, probably last year. And you're not seeing some particular things you're supposed to see. Probably some projects started in January and they are not there right on, the Google Earth. So it's important that, you fly a drone and you get auto photos which can be combined to form an auto mosaic. So an auto mosaic would give you an updated view of a large expanse of land. Also, the agricultural industry is also seeing huge benefit from auto mosaic. Specified drones, specified drones have multispectral cameras that gather data from specific band of light, such as red, green, blue, red edge, and near infrared. So what this is saying is, when you send in your drone or when you fly your drone over an expanse of land, there are sensors or cameras that are used to acquire images. And these cameras comes in bands of light such as red, green, blue, red edge, and near infrared. And this would help in specifically determining, or if this will help in specifically, looking at which color is which. You'll be able to get a photo and you'll be able to distinguish, the properties of those photos, using colors. And so autophotos also allow farmers to get details of their vegetation health, such as NDVI. And so with that, they can see area that needs immediate attention and also have a more successful crop season. I'll be talking about NDVI as I go ahead. And so you can use autophoto or auto mosaic to count trees, monitor forest health, count livestock, and do so much more within the agricultural need. And so it's very important to notice that for you to get an updated view of your expanse of land as a farmer, or to get an updated view of a particular area or site, you need, to get a auto photo. You need to get a auto mosaic, which is a combination of auto photos. And auto photos can be gotten or acquired using UAVs, one of which is drone. Now let us look at autophotos. Now I spoke about camera lens, and here we can see the camera, and this camera is a payload which is attached to the drone to capture images, and so we can see different lenses, and it has its own um, um, color. We have red edge, we have near infrared, we have the green, we have visible light, we have red, and we have blue. So we have the RBG, we have the red edge, we have the near infrared. And so here we can see the real world data. And so this is a large expanse of land which has not, the drone has not flown over this yet. This is just a normal picture, taken probably with a phone. And so this is the auto mosaic of the real world, of this expanse of land. And so we can see that this is the same thing as this, but this is a map, an auto photo, that is an auto mosaic, and this is the combinations of auto photos. And so how are auto mosaic generated? How are auto mosaics generated? And so I already spoke about auto mosaics being the combination of, different auto photos. Here we can see um, auto photos right here, and these auto photos have been geometrically corrected. Like I said, corrected for perspective, tilt, camera lens, and any other geometrical distortions. And so the combination of all of these auto photos is what, has been combined to give us this auto mosaic. And so there are specialized softwares that are used, to acquire this data, specifically correct the errors, that is geometrical errors, and combine all of the auto photos together to give you an auto mosaic, which is this. And so now let's go to the workflow, which is how are auto mosaic generated. And so I'll be starting from the beginning, flight planning. And so if you have a particular area of interest that you want to fly over, a particular area of interest that you want to survey, you need to define that area of interest. And that is the first one in flight planning. Define your AOI. AOI stands for area of interest, and place the GCPs. Now, GCP means ground control points. Now, so ground control points are points that are placed for, that there are points that has locations. That is, there are points that are known on the ground, and they will be helpful when you are acquiring your data. You set your altitude and your flight path. You choose overlap percentage, and you check lighting and weather conditions. So these are part of what you do in your flight when you're prepared to fly your drones. You define your area of interest. You place your GCPs. You set your altitude. You choose the overlap, you check the lighting and weather conditions if it is, okay for you to fly. Then if we go to the next one too, you can now start acquiring your data by flying your drones. And so when you're flying your drones, you follow a flight path. Okay, so when I was talking of flight planning, and I said you define your area of interest, you place your GCPs, and so when you're placing your GCPs, you are also, creating your flight plan, and you are synchronizing your flight plan to your drone such that your drone can fly over a particular area in a sequential manner and take overlapping photos, which I already said is an auto photo. Well, it's a photo, and when it is corrected, it is an auto photo. And so you follow the flight path, you take overlapping photos, and you geotag each images. Geotagging each images is for you to take note of, how the images will be arranged. And so most of all these things can be done using softwares nowadays. I'm just trying to take you through the basic or through the technique at which those softwares are even using to, acquire data or to generate an auto mosaic. And so next thing, you've acquired your photos. What next can you do? You transfer those photos, that is data transfer and pre-processing. You transfer them to your computer. You remove the blurry and overexposed images, and you check and filter EXIF data. So EXIF data are metadata, that is, they are redundant data that comes with the auto photos that you've generated, the photos that you've generated. And so these are redundant data that you need to remove so that you can take note of the important data. So the next step is the photogrammetry processing. So photogrammetry basically is the art and science of capturing, data, um, using while flying over a particular area, using drones or using, airplanes, or using a particular platform. A sensor is placed on a platform, sensor like a camera placed on a drone or placed on an airplane, and it's flown over an area to capture data without necessarily having to come in contact with the data. And so the photogrammetry processing is exactly what those software does while they process data. One of which is feature matching, sparse points, cloud generation, and dense point cloud generation. And so once you've gotten your photos, the software matches those features together, the overlapping photos together, create a point cloud, which is used for scene geometry, and also build a high resolution 3D point cloud, which is used for terrain construction. And so all of this is part of the workflow that is used to generate an orthophoto. And so the next step is the digital elevation model creation. The first is the DSM and the DTM. So these are elevation models. One of which is the digital surface model, which is DSM, and the digital terrain model, which is DTM. And so the DSM takes note of the surface of the Earth, including the trees, the buildings, and the structures that are on the terrain, while the DTM takes note of just the bare earth model. And so the next is auto rectification, which I talked about, correcting your images, which include correcting them for lens, perspective, exposure, and so on. And so the next is image stitching and mosaicing. And this comes with balancing colors, streamline optimization, and exposure normalization. And so once you've done this, you will be able to get your auto photo, which you can export, in a GOT file or in a JPEG file, that is a picture, or in a cloud optimized GOT. And so after getting your auto photo or auto mosaic, there are other post processing which you would also want to, do. And these are post-processing in my slides, but they are called pre-processing in remote sensing. And one of which is radiometric correction, and the next is atmospheric correction. And so radiometric correction is correcting the images you've gotten, pixel based. That is, you are correcting the distortion that comes from brightness, color. That is, this happens when the recorded light intensity is altered. And the next is atmospheric correction. And atmospheric correction is basically, when you capture data from the drone in the atmosphere, they are refracted, those the waves that are sent to the ground are refracted or reflected. And so there are corrections that you need to make to the corrections that you need to make to your auto mosaic, and that is which is atmospheric correction. And so this is an auto mosaic, and this auto mosaic, like I said, is a combination of auto photo. There's so much more we can do with an auto mosaic. So as a farmer, when you have, when you have gotten this particular data, what can you do? What insights can you get? Especially when you consult GIS analysts. And now we are going into vegetation indices. Vegetation indices. And so this is a remote sensing technology utilizing satellite drones and handheld sensors to monitor crop status. These tools detect early signs of stress before they are visible to the human eye. So vegetation indices are mathematical indicators that describe the greenness, density, and the health of vegetation for each pixel in an image, which reducing atmospheric and topographic effects. It helps in identifying specific area that needs water, nutrients, and in order to take preventive action and maintain high productivity. And so with the images you've captured, you can, make use of vegetation indices to monitor your crop or to monitor your farmland. And these include nutrient levels, water stress, disease detection, and biomass density. And so now we are going into the common type of the vegetation indices, which we have NDVI, GNDVI, NDRE, EVI, CCI, MSI, NDMI, and CWSI. And now I will just be focusing on NDVI, which is the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. So the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, it is a vegetation index that help to notice healthy vegetation. And so we can see the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index formula, which is the near infrared minus red divided by the near infrared plus red. So this formula is what you can use on your software, to get your NDVI. And so it's very simple. You've gotten your data, you put in your data into your software, you use the NDVI formula to get your NDVI map. And so LD vegetation reflects more near infrared light and absorb more red light. And so the NDVI is a ratio that provides a standardized way to measure plant vigor. And so the NDVI has indices, like I said, where 0.6 to 1.0 depicts that your crop is healthy. It has dense and there is the presence of dense and vigorous vegetation. 0.2 to 0.5 shows that your crop is stressed. That means there is sparse or unhealthy vegetation. 0 to 0.2 means it is a bare soil. That means that particular area, they've uprooted, part of the crops, or it is just a bare soil with no nutrients. And the last one is 0 to or minus 1, 1.0 to 0, which means there is non-vegetation, that is water, cloud, or man-made structures. And so we can see here green showing healthy vegetation. Here, unlike, of course, it's probably a yellow showing 0.2 to 0.5, showing that vegetation is sparse or unhealthy. This showing bare soil, that is, there is no vegetation, and the blue showing that there is the presence of water, man-made structure, or cloud. So the normalized difference vegetation index, NDVI, is simple and widely used tool for assessing overall plant health by measuring the near infrared and the red light. And so LD crops typically have NDVI values between 0.6 and 0.9, indicating strong growth. Stress from disease, drought, or nutrient deficiencies can have lower NDVI, indicating, from values ranging from 0.4 to 0.6, or from 0.2 to 0.5. And so this is a graph showing the NDVI change of a particular area over a period of time. As you can see, this here are the dates why this is the NDVI value. And if we look at this over the summer, we see that the vegetation index of soya beans in this particular area are starting to increase because of the nutrients in the soil and because of the weather. And so it got to a particular point where they were ready for harvest and they were harvested by the farmer. And we noticed that the NDVI started decreasing over time. And so these are things that we can get from map. These are analytics that we can get from map that will help us, will help farmers take better decisions. And so this is an NDVI map of Akwa Ibom. And here we can see here the map, we can see the green depicting LD and dense vegetation. You can see the light green depicting moderate LD vegetation. We can see that of yellow depicting bare surface, and we can see that of red depicting the water body. So with this map, farmers can look at this map and ask themselves questions. Okay, this is a particular area that is healthy. This is a particular area that is moderately healthy. This is a particular area that is just bare surface. And this is a particular area that is water body. So I know where to plant my crop. I know what, where to apply my fertilizer, and I know when to start, harvesting. And so now we're going to field variability and management. And so basically what field variability means is it refers to natural differences in soil quality, water retention, and crop health within a single field. Treating the entire field uniformly often lead to resource and waste underperformance. And so when you've got your map, you can now, know your field variability. You're not taking your field as one. When you get to your farm, you're not saying because this particular area is deficient of nutrients, and you are generally saying the whole area is deficient of nutrients. It's important to know that you have to sector, or you have to take note of field variability. And so this is where the role of NDVI comes. So by comparing NDVI values, farmers can visualize and quantify these differences, identifying exactly where crops are thriving and where they are under stress. And so field variability helps in targeted fertilization, precision irrigation, and pest and disease control. And so farmers can know where to apply nutrients using chemicals. Farmers can know where to, carry out irrigation. Farmers can also know, that okay, this is a particular area that has been affected by pests or disease, and they can know how to treat those outbreaks before they spread out to the whole field. So all of these concepts is basically saying you are a farmer, you have a large expanse of land, you cannot go to all of the expanse of the land where you are, you cannot reach everywhere, but VI map, via NDVI maps, you can be able to know which parts needs fertilizers, you can be able to know which part needs irrigation, or you'll be able to know which parts need pest and disease control. The next is zonal analysis for strategic insights. And so what is zonal analysis? This is a computation technique used in GIS to summarize and analyze spatial data across defined geographic zones. It examines relationship between vaster data sets and specific geographic areas. So it's simple. When you have the NDVI map, you can now start carrying out zonal analysis. You can zone a particular plot of land, and this you can use to take note of seed performance, treatment effectiveness, soil moisture monitoring, and productivity mapping. And so with zoning, you can start to make informed decisions. You've zoned this particular area needs fertilizers, this particular area just needs water or irrigation, this particular area I need to have more nutrients. And so with that map, you can be able to carry out zonal statistics, which help for strategic insight. And so in summary, what have I been saying from the beginning? That it is important for farmers to know that in this age, there is no need for you to start using the traditional method of monitoring your large expanse of land. You can consult drone experts and remote sensing experts to help you fly drones, conduct drone mission where you'll be able to capture images, process those images to create an automosaic map, carry out NDVI and field variability analysis to know how to assess the crop health by zones, carry out zonal statistics which help you to know, okay, how much yield have I got in this place, how much is deficient, how much is the plant that has been affected by pests, how much is the plant that has been affected by probably the environment, probably there's not enough rain, or there's the environmental factors. And with this, farmers can make decisions, where to apply fertilizers and when to harvest. Now we're talking about producing farmer-ready decision maps. Producing farmer-ready decision maps means transforming drone and remote sensing data into simple, actionable maps that can help farmers apply the right input, which is what, in the right place, which is where, and at the right time, which is when. So it answers the question of what, when, and where. And that is the basic questions that farmers ask themselves, what am I to do? Where am I to do it? And when am I to do it? And so converting complex data structure into simple information gives us NDVI maps, zonal management maps, yield prediction maps, irrigation and water management maps, fertilizer recommendation maps, pest and disease monitoring maps, and you'll be able to deliver maps in accessible formats that farmers can use in order to make decisions. The future of mapping and farming, from sky to soil. The integration of drones, remote sensing, and GIS transform raw aerial data into intelligent field level decisions, empowering farmers to grow more food, reduce waste, and build a smarter, more resilient agricultural system. In Nigeria today, one of the most important sector is the agricultural sector. And it's important for the government and the agricultural industry to take note that there are remote sensing technology and GIS technology that can be used, in monitoring large scale agriculture. And this will help on the long run for sustainability, to help in seamless integration, data driven impact, and operational excellence. And what I'm trying to say now is when you take note of these techniques, when you use these techniques, it will help you in integrating, your data. It will help you in making right decision, and it will also help you in operational excellence. Thank you for listening.
Wow, wow, wow. That's a very enlightening and insightful session, Mr. Diola. Thank you very much. Now that we have seen the complete journey of data, from data capture to field processing, to field work, to processing, to analysis and interpretation, we have seen how area imagery becomes agricultural intelligence, but there is another important piece to this puzzle because technology is not enough. You need the right tools, you need the right software, the right technical support, and most importantly, you need sustainability. So, how do organizations consistently assess these solutions? How do they maintain efficiency? How do they maintain efficiency? How do they scale? And this is what we are going to be looking at next. So we have with us here GeoStore representative, Mr. Peter, who will be answering the questions I just asked. So over to you, Mr. Peter. And before that, please let's keep the questions coming. I can see your engagement in the comment section, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Mr. Peter, over to you.
So good morning, everyone. So I was presenting, I was talking about the how we can use these tools, these equipment um for our day-to-day activities, as for the likes of I was talking about the enterprise conflict side and with alongside the specialization. Also, the second topic I'll be covering sensor options alongside the software solutions. And also the third one I'll be talking about is the accessory and support equipment. Why the fourth one is I'm talking about more about the training for academy and also the training they offer and certificate right that also will be given after the training. And the fifth one we're having the procurement and also partnership pathway for job stuff. So for the first one I'll be talking about the enterprise zone, the enterprise zone fleet, where we have the likes of Agra 350 and also 200. And I guess Anthony already discussed about Anthony have discussed about the likes of the the adaptivity that we have that we have for that we'll be using for each of these particular operations that I mentioned earlier, where we have the likes of the 40K and kg spray tanks that we have alongside them. the active free spirit that I also have for agriculture, which we use for one of our operations in those states as well. Also, we have also have the latest Agras, which is the Agras 300 that is new in town for agriculture as well. So we can also we can use the likes of the Master Sporty, that is Master Sporty Enterprise Last Terminal. We have also have that at 49 minutes flight time. Also, we have 48 megapixel wide, and also it has its own, it's AI embedded actually. So it tracks objects and its own that is when you use it for for the agricultural aspect of it. So for also aside from these two that I mentioned, that is three. The first one is we have the likes of the Agas 350, also the 300, and the likes of Marcus 40. We also have the we like call it the gift or we like call it I just call it the new of all. We have the DJI Drop 3. The DJI Drop 3 you can also use that one for surveillance as well in your farm. You can also use DJI Drop 3 for surveillance and other things you can also use it for. There is for the likes of it also have the IP 56 rated drone that is in the box. Also we have 24/7 automated mission which we have the DJI Drop 3 for. So we also have the Matic 30 for Matic 30 we have that for the compact and foldable that is, it has the IP55 in it. Also it also has the terminal tech and for rescue as well. That is for the Matic 30 on its own. So these are the enterprise drone fleets that we have for agriculture. So move on to next page where we have the sensor option and also the software solutions. So here in Josto we have we sell drone. We also sell the likes of the software and then the maps, the likes of the sensor on its own, the RGB sensor as well. Here we also have the iris resolution camera up to 48 MB. I also have the likes of the 2D slash 3D map for mapping. We also have the near infrared as well. There is like Anthony mentioned earlier on that we can use the likes of the T50 to spray on the farm. So you can also use has the near infrared as well. So also we have the terminal sensor as well for this software on phone. Why the likes of the software ecosystem, we also have the likes of DJI and 5.2. We also have DJI Terra. So these are software that we can use for these operations. Then when we are going for this agricultural operation as well. So we also have customized GIS solutions as well. So we have these software that will help us carry out the operations that we want to carry on this farm, whether we are spraying, we are mocking, or we are surveying on each of these farm on its own. So we move on to the top slide. We'll be having the accessories and the support equipment on its own. Of course, we have the power solution that is for the battery, that intelligent flight batteries. Like Anthony said, once the battery is in 50%, it will try to change the battery, which is very, very important. The AGA 350 and the 300 are very, very, very big. So if we cannot take that risk for crashing software and if we get to notice that the battery is below 50, so we have to do just have to change the battery now for us to carry out the smooth operations that we have. Okay, we also have the charging hub here in Josto and the charging stations as well that you can get from Josto as well. We have the portable power stations that we have. We have that here in Josto as well. Second one, I'm moving straight to the precision and connectivity. The precision connectivity we have the RTK. We have the RTK, the high precision GNSS mobile station. We also have we also have the seamless RTK integration with DJI drones. How do we do this? We have the RTKs that we also link the drones for smoother operations. Also, we also have specialized payload and the likes of DJI ES1 and loudspeakers for public address, where we also have the expandable payload mounting system as well, the high intensity spotlight for night missions as well. So there are times whereby you need all these payload on its own, be it camera or speaker, to carry out this operation for you, be it in the morning or at night as well. So you have all these at joeinfostore.com where you can also um, take take a glance and then purchase one or two things from joinfostore.com. So lastly on the slide we have obstacle sensing where we have the LiDAR module for complex environments. We also have millimeter wave radar for industrial sites and also 360 degree directional sensor support where we have LiDAR. We have the LiDAR on Geoinfotech where you can come get it as well Geoinfotech.com. We also have the likes of the omnidirectional sensors as well. So all these we have them on geoinfostore.com where we can also get them from the store here as well in Lagos. We also have our outlets are in Lagos, Abuja, and also in Port Harcourt as well. So I'm moving on to the fourth slide. So for the first slide, there is the training and the capacity building where I discuss the first slide where we have the training for academy. So for the training for academy, we have from the beginner to the professional, that is for the drone pilot foundation. And for the drone pilot foundation, we know that once you start as a beginner and then you become a professional once you are done with your program here in Join for Academy. So we have everything to guide you and as well make you make you look ready for mission as well. So it's very, very important. And the most important thing of what is the NCAA, that is the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority Regulation. So we let you give you all these guidelines and let you know once you enroll in this academy, we give you each and every one of them. We give you the guideline alongside what you need to know, how you need to carry out your operation once you want to carry out drone operation. So we for the GIS on its own, from beginners to advanced, we have GIS training as well for beginners to the advanced, that is the mapping and surveilling as well on its own. But that is we have it here in Joe Info Academy, and then also for the webinar we're also hosting as well, carry out from site to site. So for doing for academy on its own, we have we have training for if you want to become a drone pilot, and also if you want to become a professional GIS. Um, also move on to the fifth slide where we have the Joe store and phone. For Joe store, we have three categories here, like you can see on the slide. The first one, Joe store beats a one-stop shop on its phone. So if you visit them, joinfostore.com for direct procurement of hardware, software license, and also maintenance package, including GIS, care, enterprise. So it's very, very important you can get your drone from us alongside the software from us as well. And also, if you also crash your drone as well, we also do repairs as well and maintenance. So it's very, very important to also patronize just on its own. And you can also call in for horizontal and also for partnership, which is very, very important um for for us here in Geoinfotech. And then lastly, I'll be discussing the likes of the key takeaway that we need to know from this. Yeah, we're having the likes of the enterprise grade drone for every sector. We have that as well for be it for agriculture, for public safety and beyond as well. We also have the advanced sensor and software ecosystem for actionable area intelligence, the complete accessories and support for uninterrupted field operation, which is very, very necessary. And also the Doing for Academy transform beginners to mission ready professionals in 3 weekends, which is very, very important. Like I said, 3 weekends, you you just from beginner become a professional in just 3 weekends. That is what Joint Academy can do for you on. And also, we also have the end-to-end partnership support from procurement to regulation compliance, which is very, very important. This is why you need to come to us and then partner with us um, and also enroll in for the go into academy on its own and then for the mapping and surveillance as well for the services for doing for services we also carry out sport services here in doing for Yes, okay. So, thank you. I think that's all from me.
Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Mr. Peter, for that session. So, moving on, we'll be talking about the questions, and our speakers will be giving answers to each questions. And I also appreciate the audience for taking their time to, drop questions in the comment section. So, our very first question goes to Mr. Adiola. So, Mr. Adiola, what do you think, or what is the most effective sensor or payload for early crop stress detection?
All right, thank you. All right, thank you for that. So, just let's take this as simple as possible. We have the human eyes, and if you notice, the human eyes can see a particular object in the visible light region. And so the way I see a particular object can differ from the way someone else sees a particular object. The way I see a particular object differs from the way the eagles in the sky see a particular object. And so take the eyes as a sensor. Take the eyes as a sensor. And so if you now go deeper, we go into the RGB aspect, and that's the red, green, and blue aspect. And with this, you can monitor a particular land or a particular aspect of a particular area without going deeper into details. You can just see, okay, this is green, this is red, and this is blue. And so this is different from this. If we go deeper into hyperspectral cameras, with hyperspectral cameras, you can now start detecting more things because it is very sensitive. You can now start detecting where if a chlorophyll or a particular pigment of a crop is decreasing, or if it is losing nutrients, or if there is a infestation on a particular crop. And so when you use the hyperspectral camera, it is very helpful for you to detect, for early detection of, all of this. We also have different sensors that you can use for detection. Another which is the red edge band, and the red edge band is very also helpful because it is used to even differentiate from which is green and which is red. And so when you know which is green, you will know that okay, your crop or your plant is still viable, is still okay. But once it is red, or once you start seeing defects from your map, you can know that okay, this particular area is affected. Thank you.
Goes to Mr. Akinwuta Ayomide. So, Mr. Akinwuta Ayomide, what are the biggest challenges you face while flying drones over large agricultural areas?
Okay, thank you for that question. So one of my biggest challenges I face is battery limitation. So, like I said, 50 acres of land. You don't think using just two or three batteries will make everything work. So you have to get a lot of batteries down. Getting like three, four, five batteries down. So either swapping one and charging the second one, and changing the drone, then change everything again. It's like getting enough batteries down. That is one of the limitations. Most clients don't provide enough batteries for that. So that's one of the biggest limitation one out. And of getting of KMA file. Some of the clients they give us one KMA file. So when we get to the farm again, we have to remap the farmland from ourselves again. Instead of us getting the KMA file beforehand, so you can map the farmland before we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. One more question for you from my hand, actually. So, this question: what tips do you give to new operators starting drone-based farm surveys.
So one of the safest, fly safe, follow the rules and regulation, don't fly above human beings, use the right tools, get your batteries down, well charged, use your RTK, make sure it's connected very well. And with that, you're good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Akimoto. Our next question goes to Mr. Peter. And the question goes thus: where can I go to learn how to process drone images and do all this analysis, Mr. Peter?
Okay, then, thank you, Angelo. So we have, like I mentioned earlier on, we have the likes of Principal Academy, where they can go and learn the first thing, which is very, very important. And then from, like I said earlier on, just for 3 weekends and that is where you have um, them start from beginner to professional. That is for the goal for that becoming a certified drone pilot and also for them to get also from the likes of beginner to advanced, that is for the GIS as well, which is very, very important. The Geoinfotech Academy is there to take you on that journey on and going to expose them to a whole lot of things that they don't know about the drone and also for GIS aspects. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. One more question for you, Mr. Peter. Which drone platform or which drones would you recommend for a mid-sized farm and why?
Aside from, if I have to recommend that for anybody that wants to fly drones it's better for me to the likes of DPI Mavic 3 Spectra, which is very, very important. That is for them to use the DPI Mavic 3 Spectra, like Adela mentioned earlier on. It is very important for us to use this multi-spectra for drones. Yeah, so it can capture what it wants for us. It has a dual camera efficiency. Also, it also has a precision without CPPS um, GPS, sorry. Also, it also has an operational skill, and lastly, also it has an advanced feature on its own. So the mid-size farm, if you want to go with that, I will recommend the likes of GPI Mavic 3 of Spectre as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Before we go ahead with the question and answer session, so I read through the comments and I saw some are asking about the slides. So I would love to bring to your notice that this session is live on YouTube, and once we are done with the live, you have access to the video immediately we are done with the live, and Geoinfotech will also be sharing the link across all social media platforms. So don't be bothered, we got it covered. So our next question goes to Mr. Adeoye Adeola. Mr. Adeoye Adeola, which types of maps or analysis are most critical for health monitoring, Mr. Adeola?
All right, thank you. I already made mention of one, which is the vegetation health indices map, one of which is the NDVI or NDRA maps. So this map shows early stress. It helps you to detect, deficiencies. It helps you to detect, LD harvest early. We also have the soil moisture and water stress map, and so this helps you to, know what kind of soil is in a particular area. And when you know the type of soil that is in a particular area, you'll be able to know what kind of crops you have to plant in that particular area. It also gives you, you know, um, that soil moisture or water stress map also gives you the water, the area that is more susceptible to flooding, whether this area is more susceptible to flooding due to the slope or the topography of that area. And so with that, you can know what kind of crops you have to plant. There is also the nutrient deficiency map, and this maps gives you, if there's a crop that is deficient of particular nutrients, and so you get to know the type of fertilizers you have to get and apply in your farm. We also have the pest, disease, and risk map. We have the temporal changes map, and this temporal change map is just owing to time. We have different factors that comes with time, one of which is the environmental factor, another is the climatic factors. And so when you take note of these climatic factors, you take note of the environmental factors, it will give you an insight on what is affecting your plants and how you can you can tackle that particular problem. Thank you.
The responses you are getting are hitting the nail on the head, are putting light to your questions. Okay, so our next question goes to Mr. Peter, and it comes in two forms. So, Mr. Peter, what training or support is available for organizations adopting these drones, either organizations or probably individuals? And then, are these trainings are they physical or are they online? And then, do we have certificates attached to these trainings? So, over to you, Mr. Peter.
Okay, thank you, Abimbola. So for the likes of the Geoinfotech Academy, like I mentioned as well, we have the online and also the physical training as well. So for the drone training, we have that for physical training because it's very, very important for them to learn practical and also for them to fly the drone on their own. So after because of the reason why we do this because of after that training, they can be able to handle these drones themselves without um any question like trying to them not being confident of themselves. That's why you know I do just put the phone training physical. While for the GIS as well, for the GIS training we have that both online and physical as well. So for those that are not available, so they can also go for can do the online GIS training, which is very, very important. And then also we also have this training for we have them yeah, weekdays and also weekend as well. For the weekend we just have for Saturday for the weekend for this training. So it depends on the one they want to go for. We do them for during weekdays or weekends, and then with during for academic, they got them covered when it comes to the training and show them through on the guidelines as well, what they need to know, and how to need to carry out this operation. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. So there's an additional part, just a very small question. Where can we do the physical training and when? Which location? Is it in Nigeria, abroad? And please put light to that. Thank you.
Okay, right now, I don't know that you're in Nigeria actually. So for these classes, after we have places for it, they can come to uh, our offices here in Lagos, and also our offices in the likes of Abuja and in Port Harcourt is very, very important. And for Lagos, we are right here in Keja, and that is Inheritance Space, that is the Odualegon House, which you can look at us here for doing protest as well. That is doing protest and doing for academy as well. You can also look at us in the Inheritance Space. And then for we have our office as well in Abuja, also an office in Port Harcourt where they can also get this training from there with the experts that we have.
Our very last question from the comment section goes thus. So it goes to Mr. Adiola actually. So, Mr. Adiola, is it that some unaided insects that we cannot see, we can see it clear while using the drone? Like, can it capture that much details, tiny details?
All right. So drones act as early warning system. They are early warning system. They are not magnifying glasses. They are not used as to detect microbes or to detect insects. You get so what I've been trying to say is they are used to detect the effects of insects on your crop, not the insect itself. Of course, if you use drone to detect insects, how are you now going to say you start looking for the insects to kill the insect or what? So what I'm trying to say here is It detects the effects of insects on your crops. And so if there are particular insects on your crops and they are affecting your crops, it is very important that you notice them early. And so drones are used to capture data for early system detection. And so when you notice this early, you can know what steps to take. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diola. So we have come to the end of the question and answer. If you have any other question that has not been okay, so I'm seeing some questions here relating to IT, internship, series, and all. Okay, so I think I'll take that question. That is our last question for the session. And this question goes to Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter, is Geoinfotech accepting IT students and what are the requirements?
Okay, thank you, Abimbola, for that. Yes, the intersection, because we do assess that sometimes, and very, very important because we want to know that it's important for us to carry them along and carry them along with building a picture together. So very, very important. So, to that effect, yes, we do assess income. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Now we've come to the end of the question and answer session, and we've seen.
Okay, I need to add it. Also, for those that want to enroll for our next for the likes of the drone training and then GIS and that is coming up. So we have our next training coming up then March 26th. That is for the weekdays and also for the weekend we have that for March 28th as well. And for those that need it physically present for the GIS, they can also enroll for the online courses as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. So, as we conclude today's session, we've seen how area data moves from sky to soil, drone to GIS, and then the tools, the sensors, the imageries, the auto photos, auto mosaic, and then so as these two come together, we already know how they are integrated. We know that this integration represents more than technology, right? It represents smarter systems, it represents precision, and it represents impacts. So we really, really appreciate our speakers and the audiences for their time, for the comments, the questions actually. They really made the day. So one very last question to our speakers, Mr. Adeoye Adeola, Mr. Anthony, what advice do you give to upcoming GIS analysts, geospatial enthusiasts, or drone pilots? So our response will be coming from Mr. Adeoye Adeola, our first response.
All right, thank you. That's why I would always want you guys to refer you guys to our blog post. We have posts that we make once in a while. And one of the posts we sent out recently is how to become a GIS developer or how to navigate your way as a GIS analyst. And so all of these things are important, for you to read. So it's important for upcoming GIS um, enthusiasts to take note of the fact that the change starts from you. Of course, you are learning ArcGIS, you are learning so many things, but it's important for you to take on a problem and try to solve that problem. You know, there are so many problems. There are so many problems that are upcoming now. One of which is what we just discussed: agricultural sector. take a problem, acquire data, see how you can transform that data into meaningful insights that you can give, or you can give the government officials or private entities that would help them in making smarter decisions. And when they make smarter decisions, of course, you'll be able to get food to eat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adiola. Over to you, Mr. Anthony.
So thank you for the question. My advice for upcoming drone pilots is take your craft serious. Learn how to map very well. Observe learn your visual line of sight. Always listen to corrections from your mentor or mentee. Then just take your craft very serious. That's the main issue. Learn how to map. Always ready to learn anything new. Because in this my field, there's a lot of new things coming up. So just learn how. Just be ready to learn a new thing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. So, Mr. Peter, any last words, anything you have for our audience in the comment section?
So, lastly, what I'm going to say for okay, firstly, we have the likes of, like I said earlier on, the Geoinfo services. Gives us a whole lot of opportunity to put up this webinar to you guys, and I think we need to give them that accolade, and also the likes of Improve Info Academy as well, and lastly, which is on the Grow Store as well, where we can also improve and get some of the software we need, the likes of the drone software, the likes of GIS and GIS software, the maps that we want, the drones that we want to fly to get all this and data on its own are very, very important. And we can also get free stuff like free data alongside free license to free software, software license on those store as well. It's very, very important. So, Abimbola said earlier, it's very, very important. The agricultural space is changing really, really fast, and we don't want to be behind. So that is why we are bringing this topic to tell you new things that we have on board. And lastly, I also say thank you um, James because again because it's very um, very okay for us to present it to people and let them know what they really really want. So that is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Thank you, Mr. Adiola. Thank you, Mr. Akinwuta Anthony. And thank you, Geoinfotech. Thank you, our audience. If you found this session valuable, please stay connected with us for future webinars, trainings, services, and many other opportunities. Have a productive day ahead. Bye.